The planet Zerathia was not like any place humanity had ever visited. Its skies were a strange shade of deep teal, shifting like liquid with the light of its twin suns. The air was breathable for humans, but carried a faint, sweet scent that clung to everything. Rolling hills stretched for miles, dotted with trees whose leaves shimmered like silver in the sunlight. This was the new frontier for human exploration, and a small research outpost sat at the edge of a sparkling crystal river. Inside the outpost, Dr. Ilara Whitman tapped at her console, scanning readings from the experimental energy device the team had set up. The device was meant to study the planet's natural energy flows and possibly harvest them for human technology. Ilara had worked years for this moment, combining science and curiosity to bridge a gap between humanity and the unknown. "Energy levels are stable," she said aloud, though she was the only one in the lab. "But I need to run more tests before we expand." Suddenly, a soft rustle echoed outside. Ilara froze. The planet was known to have life, but she hadn't expected visitors so soon. She stepped to the large window overlooking the crystal river. There, standing on the shore, was a small figure. A girl, not human, with skin that seemed to glimmer faintly and hair like liquid silver. Her eyes were large, almond-shaped, and golden, reflecting the sunlight like polished amber. Ilara's heart raced. "Oh my. She's alive." The girl, Lyra, tilted her head curiously. She had probably never seen humans before. With tentative steps, she approached the outpost, her movements delicate and cautious. Ilara activated the speaker outside the building. "Hello, I'm Dr. Ilara Whitman. Don't be afraid. We mean no harm." Lyra paused, tilting her head again. Her gaze flicked to the strange device inside the building, humming softly with light. Her small body trembled slightly. As she tried to understand what she was seeing, curiosity outweighed caution, and with a swift motion, Lyra darted past the security field and touched the device. The hum turned into a low, vibrating pulse, and for a moment, she froze. Ilara's eyes widened. The readings on her screen spiked uncontrollably. "Lyra, step back," she shouted, rushing to the observation window. But it was too late. The pulse hit Lyra directly. She gasped, falling to her knees. Her legs stiffened, refusing to move. "I can't move," she whispered, her voice trembling with fear. Ilara's mind raced. Human tech had never affected an alien this way. She activated the communication console to calm Lyra. "It's okay. You're safe. Don't panic. Just stay still for a moment." Lyra's large eyes filled with confusion and fear. She tried to rise, but her legs would not obey. She curled her arms around herself, trembling. The humans outside the lab could only watch helplessly. Dr. Ilara knew she had to act fast. She grabbed the portable scanner from the table and activated it. A soft blue light surrounded Lyra, mapping her body and showing energy flows. The screen lit up with strange patterns. "Oh," Ilara muttered. "Her physiology. It's energy sensitive. This device, it's overloading her leg nerves. That's why she can't move," Lyra whimpered softly. "It, too, strong." Ilara knelt by the window, trying to make Lyra feel safe even from afar. "I understand. I'll fix this. You're strong. You'll be okay." Minutes passed like hours. Lyra's breathing grew shallow as the pulse continued to resonate within her legs. The humans inside the lab tried adjusting the device remotely, dialing down the energy output. But the readings were unpredictable. This planet's life forms were unlike anything humans had ever studied. "Her body. It's unlike ours," said Dr. Malik, one of the researchers, who had just arrived at the console. "She's connected to energy, in a way we can't predict." Ilara nodded. "Exactly. That's why we need to be careful. Any sudden change could harm her." Meanwhile, Lyra's panic began to fade slightly. She was scared, yes, but curiosity was stronger than fear. She studied the humans through the glass, noticing their gestures, their expressions. Slowly, she began to mimic their movements, tiny hand gestures, subtle nods. She was trying to communicate, even though her legs betrayed her. Alara smiled softly, seeing this. She's trying to talk, with her hands. That's good. That's very good. The team brainstormed. They could not touch her directly, the pulse could affect them too. Instead, they activated remote stabilizers, devices that created a small energy shield around Lyra. The shield reduced the pulse intensity and allowed her nerves to regain partial control. Her legs twitched, then moved slightly. Yes, she's responding, Alara said, her voice full of hope. Keep it steady, Lyra gasped, a smile breaking across her face. She tried to stand, wobbly at first, leaning on the shield. I move. Little, she whispered. The humans cheered quietly. Progress. Small, cautious progress. Alara realized something important. This wasn't just a scientific experiment. It was a first encounter, a moment of trust between species. Humans had the technology, but the alien girl had instincts and intelligence that humans could barely understand. Together, they could learn, adapt, and perhaps even thrive. Good job, Lyra. Keep trying. We're right here, Alara encouraged. The sun began to set over Zerathia, painting the sky in colors that humans had no names for. Lyra's eyes reflected the golden light, and she took her first full step under the shield's protection. Alara held her breath. One step turned into two, then three. Lyra laughed softly, a sound like chimes in the wind. Humans around the console exchanged amazed glances. This was the moment. Fragile, dangerous, beautiful. Dr. Malik whispered. She's incredible. Alara nodded. Yes. And she just taught us our first lesson. Curiosity and courage matter as much as technology. We're going to learn a lot from her. As night fell, Lyra sat by the edge of the crystal river, her legs moving freely now, reflecting the shimmering light of Zerathia's moons. She watched the humans, who were watching her back, with trust beginning to form between them. And so, humanity's first encounter on Zerathia ended not with fear or violence, but with understanding, small victories, and the promise of something greater. Somewhere deep in Lyra's mind, questions swirled. Who were these strange creatures? Could she trust them? And most importantly, what could she teach them about her world? For Dr. Alara and her team, the questions were the same. How could humanity connect with a being so different? How could they share knowledge without causing harm? And could they survive the surprises that this world still had in store? For now, the first step was taken literally and figuratively, and though the journey ahead was uncertain, the moment was clear. Humanity, in its curiosity and compassion, had made the first bridge to another intelligent species. The night was quiet, except for the soft, rhythmic hum of the human device, now stabilized, and the gentle laughter of a small alien girl learning to trust strangers. It had gone too far. But for the first time, that was okay. The morning sun rose over Zerathia, painting the crystal river in shades of pink and gold. Lyra sat near the water, dipping her fingers in the sparkling liquid. Her legs moved freely now, but she remained cautious. The humans watched her from the research outpost, their eyes filled with wonder and concern. Inside the lab, Dr. Alara Whitman and her team studied the readings from the previous day. Every graph and scan told them the same story. Lyra's physiology was unlike anything they had ever seen. Her body absorbed energy in ways humans could barely understand. And her nervous system was delicate, but incredibly adaptive. We need to understand her biology before we do anything else, Alara said, speaking to the team. Even small mistakes could hurt her. Dr. Malik nodded. It's like she's part energy, part flesh. Her limbs respond to energy fields, but not like ours do. We can't assume human tech will behave the same here. Alara glanced at the observation window. Lyra was crouched by the riverbank, watching tiny glowing fish swim beneath the surface. She moved carefully, testing her strength and balance. Even after the previous incident, curiosity burned bright in her eyes. Let's try a non-invasive scan, Alara decided. She activated a handheld scanner and sent a soft blue light toward Lyra. The girl froze for a moment, unsure what was happening. The scanner passed over her body, mapping her energy channels and nerve patterns. On the monitor, the humans saw something astonishing, luminous pathways running like rivers beneath her skin, converging at her limbs. Her legs, they channel energy, Malik said, leaning closer. That's why she was paralyzed yesterday. The device overloaded those channels. But now, they're stabilizing naturally. Lyra tilted her head, watching the humans as if she understood their words. She reached toward the scanner with a trembling hand. The light reacted to her movement, pulsing gently. She gasped, realizing she could influence it. Alara smiled. She's learning fast. She's not just recovering, she's adapting. The team decided to introduce a series of controlled experiments, carefully designed to help Lyra understand her connection to human technology. Small energy pulses, weaker than the previous day, were sent toward her under the protection of the remote shields. Lyra's legs twitched at first, then moved with precision. She laughed softly, a sound like wind chimes. Her eyes shone with delight. I can feel, she said, her voice hesitant but full of wonder. Good, Alara encouraged. Keep trying. You're safe. We're here to help. As the day passed, the humans learned more about Lyra's abilities. Her energy-sensitive limbs allowed her to interact with light, sound, and even subtle magnetic fields. She could move objects slightly by focusing her energy. Though it required concentration and effort. This is incredible, Malik whispered to Alara. Her species could revolutionize our understanding of energy and biology. Imagine what we could do together. Safely. Alara nodded but remained cautious. We have to respect her limits. We can't experiment recklessly. She's intelligent, aware, and curious. She's not a test subject, she's a partner. Meanwhile, Lyra began exploring more of her environment. She climbed small rocks and leaped over the shallow parts of the river. Her movements were graceful, almost like a dance. The humans noticed that her energy channels glowed faintly when she moved, revealing a living map of her internal strength. One of the younger researchers, Sam, approached cautiously. Lyra, do you want to see something? He asked, holding a small, levitating sphere. The sphere floated gently in the air, powered by low-energy pulses from the lab. Lyra's eyes widened. She extended her hand toward the sphere. It trembled, then rose slowly toward her. She laughed. A clear, joyful sound. I do it? Yes, Sam said softly. But carefully. The girl focused, and the sphere hovered steadily in front of her. She tilted it slightly, making it spin. The humans watched in amazement. Lyra had learned to synchronize her energy with theirs, creating a simple but powerful connection. Alara's heart swelled with pride. Humanity had not only made contact with an alien species, but had discovered a creature capable of bridging the gap between biology and technology. As the day wore on, Alara realized that communication was the next challenge. Lyra had no human language, but she understood gestures and expressions. The team developed a simple set of hand signals and visual cues to convey basic ideas. Lyra responded quickly, mimicking the gestures and adding her own. By late afternoon, a small, basic conversation had formed. Pointing to herself, Lyra, pointing to the humans, friends, touching her legs, strong, gesturing toward the device, safe. Lyra laughed when she understood she could convey feelings without words. The humans responded with smiles and nods. Trust began to form, fragile but real. Alara stepped back to observe. This is progress, she said quietly. She's not just recovering. She's teaching us too. Suddenly, the scanner detected a spike in Lyra's energy channels. The blue glow beneath her skin pulsed brightly. and her legs stiffened for a moment. She gasped and stumbled, catching herself on a rock. "Lyra, stay calm," Alara shouted, activating the shields. "It's okay. We've got you." The spike subsided as quickly as it came. Lyra breathed heavily, her eyes wide. "Too strong," she whispered. Alara frowned. "It's okay. Your body just reacted. We'll figure this out. You're safe." Malik studied the readings. Her nervous system reacts to external energy, almost like a reflex. It's not dangerous if we monitor it. But it's unpredictable. We need to proceed carefully. Lyra, after a moment, reached toward the humans and smiled faintly. She had felt fear, but she had not panicked. She was learning control, and in her eyes, there was determination. The team decided to end the day's experiments. They wanted Lyra to rest and regain strength. She sat by the river, watching the twin suns begin to set. Her limbs moved freely now, and she experimented by lifting small stones and letting them hover briefly. Alara knelt nearby. "You did very well today, Lyra. You're learning fast. And we're learning from you, too." Lyra tilted her head and nodded, the golden light of the setting suns reflecting in her eyes. She had learned to trust humans, at least a little, and in return, she had taught them patience, caution, and the beginnings of a connection unlike any they had ever known. That night, the outpost quieted. Humans rested, but their minds buzzed with questions. How did Lyra's body channel energy? Could it be replicated or learned by humans? What other surprises awaited in her biology? Lyra, meanwhile, curled up near the riverbank. Her eyes closed, but sleep did not come easily. She was not used to strangers, not used to human ways, not used to technology that hummed and pulsed with power. Yet, she did not feel fear anymore. She felt curiosity, and that curiosity was dangerous in a good way. For both species, it meant discovery, growth, and perhaps even friendship. Tomorrow would bring new challenges. Stronger tests, more complex communication, and the need for humans to truly understand what made Lyra and her species special. But for now, as the twin moons rose over Zerathia, humans and alien girl alike rested, united by wonder, curiosity, and the first tentative steps of trust. For Dr. Alara, the thought lingered. Humanity had taken the first steps not by force, not by technology alone, but by understanding, and that was exactly what made them worthy of this encounter. And for Lyra, a new thought emerged. Perhaps humans were not so strange after all if they could listen, learn, and care. Maybe they could teach her things she had never imagined. The night was calm, but the promise of discovery hung thick in the air. Tomorrow would be harder, stranger, and more dangerous. But it would also be full of possibilities, and for both humans and alien girl, that was enough to keep hope alive. The morning light spilled over Zerathia, brushing the crystal river in soft hues of gold and teal. Lyra stood at the water's edge, her silver hair reflecting the sunlight like molten metal. Her legs moved freely now, but there was still a careful grace in her steps. She had spent the night thinking, learning the rhythms of her own body, and slowly, she began to understand something extraordinary. The energy that flowed through her could connect with other things around her. Inside the outpost, Dr. Alara Whitman and her team prepared for the next phase of observation. They had learned a lot from Lyra, but today's experiment would test whether she could interact safely with the human energy device again, this time under strict control. "Remember," Alara said to her team, "we're not experimenting on her. We're learning with her. Any sudden change, we stop immediately. We do this carefully." Malik nodded, fingers hovering over the controls. "Understood. She's ready. I think she knows she can trust us now." Lyra approached the device cautiously. Its hum was low and steady, not overwhelming as before. The blue light flickered, responding to the atmosphere, and Lyra felt a tingle in her legs. She paused. For a moment, fear tried to creep back in. the memory of yesterday's paralysis whispering in her mind. But this time, she took a deep breath and focused. Slowly, she extended her hand toward the device. The hum grew slightly stronger. And to everyone's amazement, her legs, the same legs that had betrayed her yesterday, began to resonate with the device. A faint glow spread across her limbs, matching the pulses of light from the human equipment. "Elara, look!" Malik shouted. She's resonating with it." Elara watched in disbelief as Lyra began to move with the energy. At first, it was small movements, a twitch here, a sway there, but then her steps became deliberate. She walked around the device. Her movements synchronized with its pulses. The humans held their breath. No alien had ever interacted with human technology like this before. Lyra's energy channels glowed brighter, flowing in patterns that almost seemed to dance. Lyra laughed softly, a sound of pure delight. "I can feel it," she whispered. "It..." "Yes, Lyra," Elara said gently. "It's listening to you. You're safe." The team quickly realized something critical. Lyra was not just reacting. She was adapting. Her species' biology allowed them to merge their energy with technology, creating a unique connection that humans had never seen. But the excitement came with danger. The energy spikes grew stronger as Lyra moved, and the device began to show signs of strain. Warnings flashed on the human consoles. If the connection overloaded, it could harm both Lyra and the equipment. "Elara, we need to stop her," Malik yelled. "The device can't handle this." Elara hesitated. She could see Lyra's concentration, the joy on her face. And she realized something profound. The girl was aware of the risks too. Lyra's energy pulsed in rhythm with the device, and the synchronization seemed to stabilize both of them instead of overwhelming the machine. "Wait," Elara said. "She's controlling it. Don't interrupt her yet." Lyra's movements became more precise. She lifted a small metal sphere nearby with a mere flick of her hand, spinning it in the air. The sphere glowed with the same blue light as the device, creating a stunning display of energy and movement. The humans could only stare in awe. "She's using it," Malik breathed. "She's dancing with it." The moment was breathtaking. Lyra's legs moved in perfect rhythm, her body a bridge between alien biology and human technology. Every step she took seemed to hum with energy. Every gesture echoed through the device. Her laughter mingled with the soft hum of the machine, creating a symphony of life and power. But the humans couldn't ignore the risk. The device was still delicate, and one misstep could send a surge through Lyra. Elara carefully adjusted the shields, creating a safety field around her. The glow around Lyra's legs dimmed slightly, giving the team a measure of control without interrupting her rhythm. "Lyra," Elara said softly, "you're doing wonderfully. But we need to finish soon. Can you feel that?" Lyra nodded, understanding more than words could express. She moved her hands in a small circle, and the energy in the device pulsed one last time. Then, slowly, she stepped back. The glow faded from her legs, leaving her trembling but unharmed. The humans exhaled collectively. They had witnessed something extraordinary. Lyra had not only regained control but had shown a capability that went beyond human expectations. She adapted," Malik whispered. "She didn't just survive the energy. She mastered it." Elara smiled, a mix of relief and pride washing over her. "She's teaching us what it means to adapt, to trust, to cooperate. This is bigger than science. This is understanding." Lyra looked at them, golden eyes shining with curiosity and wonder. She had faced fear, pain, and uncertainty, yet she had emerged stronger, more aware, and more confident. She had not only moved her legs again, she had discovered the limits of her own strength. Over the next few hours, the humans and Lyra experimented gently together. They placed small objects around her and asked her to move them with her energy. Lyra responded eagerly, learning to control her powers more precisely. The floating spheres spun, glowed, and danced in the air, a visual testament to the bond forming between human technology and alien biology. During a break, Alara approached Lyra. "Do you understand now?" she asked softly. "The device is not your enemy. It can listen to you, but only if we all work together." Lyra tilted her head, considering. She nodded slowly, her small smile growing. "I understand. We work together." That simple moment of understanding was monumental. The humans had approached Zerathia with caution and science, but Lyra had brought something equally powerful: intuition, adaptation, and a willingness to learn. Together, they had bridged a gap that words alone could never have crossed. As the twin suns dipped toward the horizon, Lyra stood at the riverbank once more, her legs moving freely, her body glowing faintly with residual energy. The humans watched silently, aware that they had witnessed a historic moment. The first true example of an alien interacting symbiotically with human technology. Alara turned to her team. "Document everything," she said firmly. "Every movement, every response, every gesture. This is not just research, this is history." Malik nodded, still staring at Lyra. "I never thought we'd see something like this. It's more than I imagined." Lyra, sensing their amazement, laughed again. The sound was light and musical, echoing across the crystal river. She dipped her fingers into the water, creating ripples that glowed faintly in response to her energy. For a moment, the humans felt small in the face of such beauty and power. Lyra had faced fear, had been paralyzed by technology, and yet she had not only survived, she had turned the situation into something extraordinary. Alara stepped closer to the observation window, her thoughts racing. Humanity had come to Zerathia to study, to explore, to understand, but they had also come to learn lessons in trust, adaptation, and respect for life in its most alien form. Lyra had taught them more than any manual or experiment ever could. As night fell, the twin moons of Zerathia rose, casting silver light across the landscape. Lyra curled up near the water, her legs stretched out, glowing faintly with the energy she had learned to control. The humans retreated to the outpost, quietly celebrating the success of the day. But even in her rest, Lyra was thinking. The humans were clever, yes, but they were slow to understand her world. Tomorrow would bring new experiments, new challenges, and perhaps new discoveries. She was ready. She had to be. And for Alara and her team, one thought lingered. Lyra was not just a subject or a curiosity. She was a partner, and together, they had crossed the threshold of what was possible, a human and an alien. Learning, adapting, and facing the unknown together. The night was calm, but energy thrummed quietly in the air. Lyra's unexpected reaction had changed everything. She had not only survived, she had shown humanity a glimpse of what was possible when courage, curiosity, and cooperation came together. The journey was far from over. But for the first time, both humans and alien girl knew that the impossible could be achieved. And that knowledge was worth every risk. The morning air on Zerathia was crisp and sweet. Carrying the faint scent of the crystal river, Lyra stood at the edge of the water, stretching her legs and arms, her energy glowing faintly like sunlight on silver waves. She had mastered the delicate connection with the human device yesterday, and today, she felt a new sense of confidence. She had faced fear, learned control, and discovered her own strength. Inside the outpost, Dr. Alara Whitman and her team prepared a new experiment, not to test Lyra, but to learn with her. The device had been modified overnight to create a gentle, controlled energy flow that Lyra could safely manipulate. Today was about collaboration, not observation. "Alara, she's ready," Malik said softly, pointing toward the window. Lyra's golden eyes followed the human's gestures, her expression bright and curious. Alara nodded. "Remember, we watch, we guide, but we don't control. She leads." Lyra approached the device cautiously, her legs moving confidently now. The hum of the machine greeted her, and she paused, letting the energy touch her hands first. She felt the familiar tingle spread through her body and smiled. She was ready. "Lyra," Alara said gently, Try to move it. With your energy. We're here to help, not to stop you. Lyra nodded, her silver hair catching the sunlight. She focused, and the energy from the device pulsed softly, responding to her rhythm. Slowly, she lifted a small metallic sphere from the table, making it hover in the air. Then, another, and another. The spheres floated around her, spinning, glowing, and creating a beautiful display of light. The humans watched in awe. This was no longer an experiment. It was a partnership. Lyra's biology and human technology were dancing together, creating something neither could achieve alone. Look at that, Malik whispered. She's performing energy choreography. Alara's heart swelled. Yes. And she's teaching us. Watch how she balances, how she controls the flow. She's showing us how to interact with energy in ways we never imagined. Lyra's movements became more complex. She lifted her arms, and the spheres formed patterns in the air, like floating constellations. She laughed softly, delighting in her own abilities. Her legs moved with perfect rhythm, each step reflecting her understanding of the energy around her. For a moment, the humans felt a mix of pride and humility. They had come to Zerathia as explorers, as scientists. But now they were students. Lyra was teaching them something extraordinary: how courage, curiosity, and trust could create harmony between species. Alara stepped closer to the device. Lyra, can you make the spheres spin faster? She asked gently. Lyra nodded, concentrating. The spheres began to move faster, responding precisely to her thoughts and gestures. She twirled in place, her legs glowing brightly, then leapt lightly over a small river rock. The energy from her movements synchronized perfectly with the device's hum. Unbelievable, Malik murmured. She's controlling multiple energy streams at once. That's beyond any human technology. But Lyra didn't see herself as extraordinary. She was simply exploring, testing her limits, and enjoying the dance of energy around her. For her, this was play, curiosity, and learning all at once. After some time, Lyra paused, letting the spheres settle. She looked at the humans, her golden eyes sparkling. She wanted to communicate something more, a connection beyond words. Slowly, she approached the outpost, mimicking human gestures she had learned, pointing at herself, then at the humans, then at the device. Alara smiled. She understood. Lyra wanted them to try together. All right, Alara said softly, kneeling by the device. Let's do it. Together, the humans activated their own controls. But this time, they let Lyra take the lead. Slowly, carefully, they added energy into the system, harmonizing with her movements. Lyra responded immediately, guiding the pulses, adjusting the flow, and creating a delicate balance. The spheres lifted, spun, and danced higher than before. The air shimmered with light. The crystal river reflected the energy show, creating a breathtaking spectacle. Humans and alien girl worked together in perfect synchronization. For the first time, they felt what it truly meant to cooperate across species. This is incredible, Malik said, tears of joy in his eyes. We're making something beautiful together. Lyra laughed softly, a sound like wind chimes. She felt understood, trusted, and valued. The humans were no longer strangers, no longer threats. They were partners. And she had found a way to teach them her world without fear or harm. After several minutes of careful collaboration, Alara guided the energy gently down, allowing the spheres to settle on the table. Lyra's glowing legs dimmed, and she took a deep breath, smiling at the humans. You did well, Alara said, smiling. We all did. Lyra nodded, golden eyes shining. She reached out her hand, and Alara placed hers gently in return. A simple touch, but it spoke volumes. Trust, respect, and friendship. Over the next few hours, The humans and Lyra continued small experiments, always together. They learned how her body responded to energy, how subtle changes could produce different effects, and how her instincts guided her movements. Lyra, in turn, learned more about humans, their patience, their care, and their curiosity. By evening, the outpost was filled with laughter, light, and a sense of accomplishment. Humanity had come to Zerathia seeking knowledge, but what they had found was far greater. A partnership, a bridge between species, and a living example of what could be achieved when courage and cooperation met. Elara reflected on the journey so far. Lyra had come to them frightened, paralyzed by a technology she did not understand, but through trust, patience, and mutual learning, she had adapted, mastered the device, and taught them something they could never have learned from books or machines alone. Humanity has a lot to learn from her, Elara whispered. And maybe she has a lot to learn from us. But together, we can do anything. As night fell, the twin moons of Zerathia rose, casting silver light over the outpost and river. Lyra sat near the water, watching the moons reflect on the surface. Her legs moved freely, no longer trembling or uncertain. She had faced fear and uncertainty, but she had emerged stronger, confident, and full of curiosity. Malik and the team observed quietly. They knew this was more than a scientific breakthrough. It was history, and it was a moment of pure HFY humanity's ability to empathize, to cooperate, and to explore the unknown with courage and respect. For Lyra, the day had been transformative. She had discovered the strength within her own body, learned to control her powers, and built a connection with a species she had once feared. And in that connection, she found friendship, curiosity, and a sense of belonging. As the night deepened, the outpost lights dimmed, leaving only the soft glow of the energy devices and the shimmering river. Lyra curled up near the water, reflecting on the day. She had learned trust, courage, and cooperation, and she knew that tomorrow would bring more challenges, more discoveries, and more moments to grow. For Dr. Elara and her team, the lesson was clear. Humanity's greatest strength was not technology alone, but the ability to care, to listen, and to adapt. And with beings like Lyra, their journey into the unknown was not just a mission, it was a partnership. A dance of curiosity, courage, and discovery. The night was calm, the river reflected the twin moons, and for the first time, humans and alien girl alike felt the true promise of Zerathia. A world of possibilities, wonder, and the extraordinary potential that comes when two species meet, trust, and learn together. And so, on that alien planet, humanity had not only explored new worlds, they had discovered a new way to connect, a new way to grow, and a new friend in a small alien girl who had once been afraid to move her legs. The journey had begun, and this time, they were ready together.